Howdy folks, this is Rampage Reviews Smackdown Live for September 6th, 2016.
Come on and fight back, we're starting over again.
Howdy folks. So this is the last Smackdown before Backlash. And I don't know if we're quite reached the hype level where I'd want to be for a pay-per-view at this point. Part of it's some of the matches. Part of it is, I think, the roster might be a little thin, but I know we've got new names coming up, so let's take a look at the card and let's run through it. We start this week again, Daniel Bryan in the ring. The first night of SmackDown, they said what separated SmackDown from Raw, it's about talent first. And they're not going to start off with the general manager in the ring. And once again, we start with the general manager in the ring. But he's sitting there, they've got the women's title on a pedestal, and they bring out, first, Becky Lynch, who's super stoked to be there. She's like, I was backstage, I was waiting, and I thought you were going to call out Nikki Bella first. And he's like, no. Like, you were our first draft pick. You are who we built this women's division around. So she's out there. And she starts talking for a bit, at which point Natalya shows up with the wah, poor me, poor you, da-da-da-da-da. Alexa Bliss shows up. Carmella shows up. Everyone's talking trash. Becky basically catches them in a logical fallacy or in a little loop. And Alexa's like, whoa, hold on. She's trying to get us to fight amongst ourselves. And they basically go to sort of back Becky into the corner. But Becky's like, no. Becky sort of dodges out of the way, gets ready to fight. Naomi comes down as backup, and Nikki Bella comes down as backup as well. And you sort of see Nikki and Carmella go to square off, at which point Natalya blindsides her with an elbow and knocks her down, and we have a big brawling kerfuffle. Not a bad way to open the show, it just didn't pop. From there we have our first of the weird Dean Ambrose promos. Ambrose walking around backstage, he sees the catering table, looks at a bagel, takes a bite, throws it back, because Dean Ambrose does not know how society works. Takes some poor guy's coffee, sips it, goes, oh god, this is horrible. Pours almost an entire thing of sugar into it, sips it, goes, that's much better. Here you go, try it. And he hands the drink back to the guy and walks away. There's one later on with a hairdresser as well, and Dean Ambrose needs to smell the product being put into his hair before she uses it. I don't know. I like edgy Dean Ambrose. I don't like goofy Dean Ambrose. To me, it's sort of... he works better as a Raven violent type, or as even a Roddy Piper sort of goofy, but I'm going to punch your teeth down your throat. But it feels like they sort of cut his teeth a bit. He feels a little chained. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I guess he can't be too brutal as their champion, as their face that runs the place. But, I don't know. Weird. So we get our first match of the night. We have Dean Ambrose taking on Apollo Crews with Dolph Ziggler on commentary. We have found out that Ziggler is going to face Miz at Backlash for the IC title. So, it's Miz being angry that he has to defend his title against a loser in Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler being on commentary, basically talking about, this is his chance, and I've had a lot of chances. And JBL keeps sort of prodding him, well, what if you don't win this time? He's like, well, I haven't always won before. He's like, but if I need to win this one. Well, what if you don't? You keep losing the big match. And they keep sort of pushing him into this weird corner verbally. And during the course of that, they're taking away from a hell of a match taking place with Apollo Crews and Miz. Both these guys turned it up a notch. Both of them went full bore. They put on a hell of a show. The end of the match comes with them both on the outside. Miz gets up in Ziggler's face, slaps the headphones off of him. Ziggler sort of gets up, and Apollo Crews sort of slides between them whoa, hey guys, calm down. To which point, Miz slams Apollo Crews into Dolph Ziggler, then throws Crews into the stairs, gets him in the ring. They get their corner shoulder first into the ring post as well. Skull-crushing finale. Drops him for the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. At which point, he rolls out of the ring. Ziggler rolls in. And Ziggler's basically standing there with the IC title, lays it down across the mat like, come on, I dare you, come and take it. And you see Miz and Maurice for a conference for a minute, and Maurice slowly walks up the stairs, gets in the ring, sort of stands like face to face with Dolph Ziggler. Perfect one. And then she reaches down, puts the belt over her own shoulder, and walks away. I love it. That's Ziggler's weakness going into this match. Is he's the good guy. And Miz will do whatever it takes to retain his title. That's a story. It's a simple story. It's going to be Maurice probably hooking the leg, interfering, distracting the referee. But that'll be a fun story to watch. Does Dolph Ziggler able to overcome that? If he does, Dolph Ziggler's an awesome champion. If he doesn't overcome it, he doesn't lose to The Miz. He loses to Maurice. And the more they do this, I joked about this a while ago. A few other people picked up on it on Twitter tonight. That at this point, it might as well be Maurice's IC title, not Miz's. From there, we have AJ Styles backstage with Renee Young. Little interview segment. They play back at him getting crushed on the top rope. He gets angry, calls the technician over, berates the technician, and threatens to break his headset because he thinks that'll make the guy responsible for his own headset because there's no cameras anywhere. And he'll lose his job and he won't be able to support his family. And a weird, uncomfortable segment. I get it. AJ Styles is the heel, but this is a weird way to establish that. From there, we have our 6-woman match. We have Carmella, Natalya, and Alexa Bliss taking on Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Nikki Bella. And this is a great match. We had Becky Lynch playing your face in peril for most of it, with the other team preventing her from making tags, knocking down the girls on their side. I enjoyed this. This had all of this simple ring psychology that you like. It was like someone watched the Revival's match at TakeOver and went, oh, hey, there's tropes in there we can use in every match. And it's wonderful. In the end, we have the normal everyone hits their finishers or sequence. But it ends with Nikki Bella laid out, Carmella sort of next to her, and Carmella just hooks her up into the Code of Silence and taps her out right then and there. I love it because, once again, it focuses on the Carmella-Nikki Bella feud, which I see lasting past Backlash. I don't think either one of them wins the title. I think that feud sustains the two of them. And it also continues the story of Nikki Bella and her injured neck. I dig it. From there, we go on for American Alpha versus the Usos. And I was ready for this match. I'm like, you know what? I was ready, willing, and able to just, like, give myself up to it to be a great tag team match. And in less than 30 seconds, the Usos jump American Alpha, lose the upper hand, get hit with great amplitude, and lose. Post-match, the Usos go to shake their hands, crazy beatdown, they isolate Chad Gable, hit this crazy, like, they sort of lock him up and, like, super kick his thigh, and then they basically hook him in a single leg crab with the bad leg exposed and hit a splash on it. And basically say, oh no, what's going to happen? Can he wrestle? What's going to happen? So we'll find out more on that. They say that they'll explain that on Talking Smack. I guess from what I was reading on Talking Smack, Stephanie says Chad Gable will be unable to compete, and we'll have the Hype Bros. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. From there, we have story time with Bray Wyatt talking about once upon a time there was nature and there was man. Man lived in fear of nature, but man evolved. They evolved the ability to build things, construct, to innovate, and in the end, man overcomes nature. And it's a nice little story there. Unfortunately, it sounds more like about wolves than snakes. So it's almost like, are you going to domesticate Randy Orton at this point, Bray? I'm not sure what you were quite going for there. It worked like 80% of the way. Not quite. There is the other version that Randy Orton tells later on, which is a man out hunting. It's cold winter. He's hungry. He needs to eat to survive. He shoots a rabbit. And he goes over to pick up the prey, but there's a snake coiled up next to it. And the snake's watching him, he's watching the snake. He walks over to it, basically sees the rabbit. You remember he was always told growing up that that snakes are more afraid of you than you are of them. So he picks up the rabbit, puts it in his bag, and he turns to walk away. And when he takes that first step, the snake strikes. In Randy Orton's story, the snake had been lying in wait, and it knew that if it waited long enough, it could have both the man and the rabbit. And this becomes the story of, once again, I like it because of a story, the story of, can Randy Orton survive long enough to strike and hit the RKO? Hopefully this is the story I was looking for with Orton versus Lesnar. Who knows what actually was supposed to happen in that match? I sure as heck don't know. The entire internet has speculated. I throw my hands up and say that in 10 years someone will release a tell-all story about it, but until then, all we know is what was on TV. From there we have Fandango in the ring. He brings some lady in and says, "Hey, let's see you dance." And then he talks about her tattoos, about her hips, and he tries to get her to dance, and she doesn't dance the way he'd like, so he casts her aside like a piece of garbage, and says, "I want someone else with wild hips." And Kane comes out. And Fandango, I think, attempts to get Kane to dance, gets chokeslammed for his trouble. Kane does a little da-da-da, and then walks away. What is this? Is Kane just going to randomly show up and chokeslam people? I don't know. We'll see. I do like random force of nature Kane. I really don't like, hey, we have a goofball segment, end it by sending Kane out there. That gets old. From there, we have AJ Styles walking backstage. He accuses one of the guys backstage of taking a picture of him. "Do you know who I am?" "Oh no, that's not a picture of me, that's your family." Blah, 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 blah. Smashes the guy's phone. "Don't you realize who I am?" The face that runs the place. "By the way, your phone's broken." Once again, a random destruction of property because AJ Styles is the bad guy. I really think they could do different storytelling there and make it work. From there, we once again have a pile of Kurt Hawkins facts, but the one fact that matters is Kurt Hawkins will debut next week on Smackdown. That's the important one. From where there, we have Rhyno and Slater taking on the Hype Bros, and Heath Slater has all 7 of his kids in the front row. Back and forth match. I blinked at the end and missed what led up to Rhyno hitting the gore. I literally think I reached in to get a potato chip, looked up, and boom, gone. But Slater and Rhyno do move on to the finals. But we've learned now, through Talking Smack, that Chad Gable's injured, will not be able to compete. So the Hype Bros will get a rematch versus Rhyno and Slater. And for the World Tag Team titles at Backlash. Bit weird because American Alpha were sort of the favorites going in. I was really sort of hoping that it's them defeating Heath Slater and Rhyno because Rhyno goes off and goes back to politics, and Heath Slater continues being the hottest free agent in professional wrestling. I dig that. But now I don't know what's going to happen. So this was a weird sort of plot twist that I'm not sure how to wrap my head around. Then we go to the main event. We have AJ Styles and Ambrose out there. Ambrose has a duffel bag. He says, "Here, I got you this." Styles opens it up. It's a participation trophy. And then Styles makes fun of his soccer mom hair. That's the only trophy you're going to get. Is Styles the WWE's version of Millennial at this point? Like, throwing temper tantrums and, like, trying to give him participation trophies? I don't know. It seems weird to me. But in the end, Styles basically throws a trophy down, says the only trophy I need from you is the one that you're not going to give me that I'm going to take, being the WWE title, and then he proceeds to kick Dean Ambrose below the belt. Clunk, lays him out, and you see AJ Styles standing tall to end Smackdown. Sort of a mirror image of what happened last week. Overall, this show didn't grab me. It was solid storytelling all the way through. The wrestling was good. I just feel like what they're building to, with the exception of the women's match, which I'm super hyped about, the rest of them sort of ho-hum. So we have Backlash coming up this Sunday. We've got, I think, 4 matches at this point. We have AJ Styles versus Ambrose for the WWE World title. We got The Miz taking on Ziggler for the IC title. Hype Bros versus Rhyno and Slater for the tag titles. And Randy Orton taking on Bray Wyatt. I don't think 4 matches is enough for pay-per-view. I'm going to guess they'll add a few over the course of the next week. Maybe through social media, maybe through... Is it Superstars? I don't know what the other minor show for this that runs on the network is. I don't watch those ones. But something will happen between now and then. They'll probably fill out 1 or 2 more matches. So that's my review this week for Smackdown Live. Hopefully you guys like this review. Any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Use the hashtag. It's right there. It's a Rampage Reviews. And we'll see you next time.